Everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If it's your first time, welcome to the family, the Black Travel and Culture family. If you've been here before, welcome back to each and everyone. Happy New Year. I hope this year brings you all of the success, the prosperity, the peace, and the blessings that you deserve. And so, with that being said, let me go ahead and introduce myself. I am Kim, aka Kim with the Gems. I am the founder of Black Travel and Culture across all social media platforms. We typically just discuss gems and hacks that I've learned along the way about everything from travel to wellness and finances. And so I ask that when you watch this video to just go ahead and give it a thumbs up, a like, a heart. um, and that's our way to say hi to each other. And if you have any questions, always leave them in the comment section. Do me a favor, subscribe to Black Travel and Culture. We have seen such tremendous growth, even with being on a hiatus. And I thank each and every one of you for keeping the subscribers numbers going up and the watch time going up. And we are going to do better in 2024. We haven't forgotten about the community. Find us on each and every other platform: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, here on YouTube. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about the warnings, the toxicity that exists in the expat community, or as being an expat or an immigrant to another company. Oftentimes, another country. Oftentimes, we hear all of the great things, especially if it's someplace tropical or exotic, like Dubai, or tropical like the Caribbean, Mexico, parts of Africa. We hear all of the beautiful things being glorified, and very rarely do we hear the opposite side of that, because truth be told, being an expat is no easy feat. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of mental strength to start the journey and to continue on the journey of moving to a foreign place. But there are some things that I want our community to be aware of. And what do they say? They say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So if there's information that is relevant to your situation that I'm going to go over, feel free to again ask questions in the comment section below, and I'll try to expand more. But we're not going to be here all night, because even though this is about the toxic part of being an expat, and the difficult challenges that one may face, I'm actually going to meet a fellow traveler, not quite an expat, but a traveler tonight for a cocktail. And I'm also going to get some steps in before I do that. And just so you know that it's not all negative, like this is the shirt that I'm wearing right now. We out, Harriet Tubman, 1849. So I am a firm believer about making moves that are necessary for your peace, for your happiness, for your zen. And for me, it was getting residency in a country that I've been coming to for decades, and always said that I wanted to have the opportunity to live in. And finally, after a lot of years in corporate America, I made the move. And you can find more videos about that story, how I did it, what did I do, on my channel. But let's get into the downsides that I have experienced. So I do have some notes, and I want to hit on all of these points before we, in tonight's live. And so don't forget also to join me tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about racism in Italy. There's a lot of news about that being a thing. And I was just in Italy 2 months ago, and I'm going to share my experience while I was there. So tomorrow at 8 p.m., I'm going to go live again. You can turn on your notifications to make sure you don't miss it. But let's get into some of the issues. Now, The one thing that I notice when people come on social media or even like on the news, the reports that are shown, there is something that's called toxic positivity as it relates to the expat culture. And it just simply means that everything is being presented as roses and unicorns and candy. And, it's just all praise and no warnings. And this video is going to kind of be the antithesis of that. There are praises, of course. I am continuing my journey as being an expat, but at the same time, there has been a lot that I've learned since I started this journey in 2022 until now. And so, what I want to say is that before you commit to the first thing is buyer beware, basically. Before you commit, a lot of people will just move to a destination and it's like the new car, shiny car syndrome. And they're like, oh my goodness, I could live here forever. I've been to many places where I've said the same exact thing. But the difference is I never just planted myself at that place. I went to Thailand. I was like, oh, I could live here forever. I went to Dubai. I was like, oh, I can live here forever. I went to different countries in Europe. Oh, I could live here forever. But I'm glad I did not pick up the first shiny object and stick with that. So the first thing that I noticed is that people will read about places, take a quick trip, and then sell all their stuff and move to that particular place. And then realize that just like a new broom that you buy will get them corners, get every piece of dust or particle in your home, after about 6 months to a year, depending on the broom, you'll notice it will start to tether and it just will not produce the same results. And it's the same like with picking a country. So instead of picking the first place that you visit, because what I've noticed from the places that I visited, and for those of you that don't know, I'm currently in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. I've been back and forth from Guadalajara to Playa del Carmen. I've also checked out some other places like Puerto Vallarta. And those were like the key. And I've been other places like Cabo. I knew I did not want to live there. Cancun, I knew I did not want to live there. And so, Puerto Morales is another small town that I've checked out, which is between Cancun and Playa del Carmen. But saying all that to say, the purpose of choosing Playa del Carmen was more than just it being a fun beach town. It was the fact that I knew a couple people who had been coming here for years, way before the Tulum craze and all of that, for many years, who really hyped it up, kind of, sort of. But they didn't move here. They visit often, but they never moved here. So I wanted to experience Playa del Carmen as a place that I may end up spending a lot of time in. It's close to the Cancun airport. It's a straight shot to the United States. It's not difficult or expensive to travel back and forth if necessary. So it was important to me to give Playa del Carmen a chance. In 2022, I came and I spent a lot of time here, a couple months. And then earlier this year is when I spent a couple months in Guadalajara and a couple weeks in Puerto Vallarta, because I knew after being there for like a week, I knew that wasn't it for me. And now I'm back in Playa because I'm trying to finalize where my investments will be, because I don't want to just rent. I would like to invest in a property. And so I'm dwindling it. It's being dwindled down to Playa del Carmen. So the first thing is give yourself time. Give yourself time in each place to check out if this place is fitting, fulfilling your needs. It may truly turn out to be the opposite of what you thought it was going to be. And if you signed a long-term lease or rental agreement, you're on the hook for that. And they don't play here in Mexico. And so take your time. And I see a lot of people not taking their time and rushing out of the country for valid reasons, but kind of visit different locations and figure out what works for you. Next is realize that you're no longer a tourist. Like people who come here to expatriate from the United States or to move to another country and become an immigrant in said country, you can't move like a tourist. And I see a lot of people making that mistake as well. Like you don't need to go out every day. You don't need to go out every night. You can definitely explore, but not from a tourist standpoint. So you don't want to go buy these tourist packages to visit these tourist destinations when that could be, that time can be used really immersing yourself in the culture of the destination that you are visiting versus, hanging out with tourists all day long and doing touristy things. And now everything I'm saying, there's a saying they say, eat the meat, spit out the bones. If this applies to you, great. If it doesn't, great. But this is my experience since I've been on this residency journey, this Mexican residency journey for the past couple of years. So start moving like you want to be a part of the culture, because if you become a resident or if you become a long-term visitor, you want to move as such. You want to know where the locals go grocery shopping versus the tourists. You want to know where the locals spend their, weekends versus the tourists always being on a yacht or a boat or something like that. So start moving like you really want to be part of the culture and less like a tourist. And tourists spend a lot of money when they're on vacation, right? And again, that is money that can be set aside for an investment, for anything that you are looking to gain from your experience. That is discretionary income that can be used in a smarter way. And with all that being said, trying to move like a a native or like you belong here, you will feel like an outsider a good portion of the time. Now, I haven't been here for years, so I can't say what years down the road will feel like just yet, but I can say as much as I try to use my Spanglish, my English/Spanish to communicate, as much as I try to understand the Mexican culture, especially during the holiday time, it's still, it's still foreign to me. I did a video, was it yesterday or the day before? I was in my feelings because I could not find Black Eyed Peas for New Year's and New Year's Eve. Like that is a tradition that I'm used to, a custom that reminds me of home. And I really was feeling myself. I knew I wasn't going to be able to find collard greens, and I had a kind of already, made myself okay with that. But when it came to the Black Eyed Peas, I was really disappointed and a little depressed. And again, that is just showing, because I don't fully understand the Mexican culture and how it is the customs that happen during their holidays just yet, I just felt all out of sorts and out of whack. You can check out that video too. I was literally, I went to many, many stores looking for Black Eyed Peas. But now I know if I spend New Year's Eve again in Mexico, then I will just have to bring my own Black Eyed Peas with me. But these are things that you learn along the way. And it's hard, like I said, not to feel like an outsider, because there will be people that make sure you feel like you think that you're an outsider. And one quick example, yesterday I was in the supermarket. The same supermarket I usually go to. It's a new supermarket. They have like gourmet items and, a whole wine bar and a whole Italian pizza thing. Like it's It's close to me. So I decided to go there. And then this is the first time this has happened. It was a cashier. I look at my bill and I see a charge and I'm like, what is this? Because I only got 2 items, but there's 3 charges. And I'm like, what is this? And of course he's gonna act like, oh, I know Joe no say, Joe no say. I'm like, KS. And so then he picks up the donation jar. There's a donation jar that people have put coins in. And he tells me that he charged me for this donation jar, but never once asked me, did I want to donate? But guess what? The guy behind me, he's Mexican, he didn't get that same charge because I went, he gave me my money back. And then I went to try to find somebody who spoke English to find out why this happened. But the Mexican guy behind me, he was in agreement with me. He followed me so he could translate what I was saying. And he didn't get charged the donation. So there are things that will make you know that some people are not going to see you as such. And I'm a resident. Now, he doesn't know I'm a resident. He thinks probably I'm a tourist, but that's besides the point. He just was assuming that it was okay to add this charge. Now, I think it was like 1 peso or 2 pesos or something like that, which is not a lot of money, but it's the principle. And so that's what I mean about feeling like an outsider. And some of that can be annoying at times. And then this leads into the pressure to trying to form and forge friendships. And I'm going to air quote friendships. There are many communities, many expat communities all across Mexico, some very wonderful communities. However, I'm trying to be very soft as I say this. Not everyone is evenly yoked. Let's say that. It's just like a relationship. It's just like being in the US. When you meet people, there are some people that you're going to, really be cool with, and it comes naturally. And then there's others that you're like, oh, we'll hang out when we hang out, or if I never see you again, that's cool too. But when you're in a foreign country, some people feel forced to stay connected to people that you should not stay connected to. And it doesn't get any simpler than that. And have I met a lot of those people? No, not a lot. Percentage wise, not a lot, but they exist. And as a person who, based on my career, I had to study personality types. I had to study like Myers-Briggs and understanding the person who was sitting across from me, from body movements to facial expressions to inflections and tones and stuff like that. I'm a pretty good figure outer of people and their motives. And the one thing that I've learned since being here, that there's a lot of people here running from something versus running to something. And when you're running from something, all of that trauma and toxicity can follow you. And that energy will manifest in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And so trying to force relationships is something that I see a lot of people doing versus finding community within community. It's always, to me, more important to align yourself with people who have similar values and similar thought processes and similar energy, right? You don't have to be the exact same, but there needs to be similarity. And I definitely believe that there's a lot of people aligning themselves with people that they have no business aligning themselves with. And that is something that people don't talk about. I keep hearing about, the beautiful community and this. Listen, we as Black people, we got some traumas, right? From the US alone, there's some traumas. And then you break it down and go a little deeper, family history, marriages, relationships, children, whatever. There's some traumas. And what's real is if people don't work on their traumas before moving abroad, then those traumas are going to come with them. And then those traumas are going to end up invading your life. Now, like I said, I'm not saying I don't have traumas and I don't have issues, but I did not run away from anything. Like, I literally, for years, have been wanting to move to Mexico before it became a thing. I'm talking in my 20s. Like, I took Spanish from fifth grade through my senior year in college and was conversational and was like, okay, I'm either going to move to Mexico or Spain. And then I thought it started hearing things about Spain, and that became no longer an area of interest. So Mexico was always a place that I wanted to move. Unfortunately, it just took longer than I thought it would, but everything in its proper timing. So saying all that to say, you don't want to leave a country to come to another country looking for peace, only for people from your said country being the ones to disturb that peace. So people don't talk about that. But again, and that goes into forcing relationships and making sure that, you know, if you're looking for a Black community, that's fine, but also look for a niche community. If you're into scuba diving, if you're into cooking, if you're into hiking, if you're into swimming, it may not necessarily be people of the same nationality or race, I should say. But it could be like-minded people where you may find the best joy and the best happiness. And so find your community within a community, because people can be toxic AF. And that's a quote from a blog that I saw. And I'm just repeating that. And I see more people that don't look like me talking about this as an issue. But it exists in our community as well. There are some bitter Bettys out there, and not just bitter Bettys, there's some bitter Bills. There are people that are running from the law. There are people that have been abusers in a past life. Like, there are so many stories of people that we are unaware of when we meet them for the first time, but know that, not everyone is for everyone, right? And so just understanding that as soon as you get that feeling, you don't need to explain yourself. Especially if it's someone who's being annoying. Anyway, if it's someone that's being annoying, know that you can move on. And so let's see. Yeah, so some people can be toxic AF. And again, I haven't experienced a lot of that, but I've experienced, I would say one in particular, someone who's a little strange and too damn old to be as strange as they are. But I attribute that to traumas. And it wasn't just like with me. There's been a whirlwind of instances that have happened with other people, which I later found out about. But this package comes disguised in a nice, pretty Tiffany blue box. But then when you open it up, it's anything but Tiffany quality. And so just saying all that to say, just know that you have to be on point and aware, and not just think that everyone who has made this move like you did is like you, right? And that's someone that you need to have in your life. There's also so in line with the bitter Bettys and the bitter Bills, that's specifically people who want to project their desires and needs onto you. Like, there are people that are looking at their move through a certain lens, but they expect you to look through it from that same lens. And so I could give multiple examples of this, not just from me, but from people I know, but I'll share one. Like, there's, people who think that, especially where I am, that there's the people who live closer to the beach in what they call like the center of town, closer to the touristy area, that they're foolish for spending all that money, and they should live in the jungle or on the other side of the highway. Now, why is that the case? Like, I truly don't understand why where I decide to live would be of any concern of yours, and vice versa. Like, if you have a family and if you have kids that are in school, then there's certain areas where I totally understand would make more sense for you, but they wouldn't make sense for me. And so, but they're quick to tell you, like, oh, no. And I mean, if I could show you some of these chats that I'm in, you would be like, what the hell? I mean, some of these chats, people are just so condescending and so disrespectful because their way is the only way. And that's the toxicity that I'm talking about, that people should be warned about and aware of. That everyone's not just going to, celebrate whatever your wins are. So if your win is that you found a great place, 2 minutes from the beach, there's going to be people commenting, oh, you're so stupid. You're paying triple what I'm paying. I'm only paying $500 a month. You're probably paying $1,500 to $2,000. And it's like, so what? If I'm not asking you for money, so what? But there's a lot of people that feel like they have to truly implement their thoughts or push their thinking onto you. And so that's just absolutely like a daily activity here. And oh, if you're watching, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget, hit the like button. I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're coming back live tomorrow to talk about my experience with racism in Italy this couple months ago. I'll be back probably multiple times this week because I have time, and I'm back in the YouTube universe. And you can also follow Black Travel and Culture on all other social media platforms, where we give tips, tricks, hacks, discounts on travel giveaways, passport giveaways, all that good stuff. So be sure to follow us on other platforms. Now, another thing that I've noticed while I was here, man, everybody's selling something. And I'm not just talking about the Mexicans. I'm talking about the expats that have decided to leave the US, and some of them with not the best proper planning. So their level of desperation is obvious. And everyone's an expert now. Everyone has a course, a book, a class. Even if you just started doing something 2 months ago, now you're an expert, and now you're trying to sell it. And listen, I don't knock nobody's hustle. I'm just here to let the people know what's going on. But I've never seen so many people that have been selling things that they are really unqualified to sell, but trying to make you think that they're qualified to sell it, and then upset when you don't buy it. You're not part of the sisterhood. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. And it's very interesting. But for people who leave the US because they want a softer pace of life or softer landing and quality of life, they sure have, some have sure transferred that hustle culture over here. And it's quite annoying. Let's just say that. It could be quite annoying. Now, if you're qualified in something, listen, go ahead. Listen, I'm all about supporting Black-owned businesses. You'll see it. I post about it in YouTube. When I'm here, I seek out Black-owned businesses as well as local businesses. I try not to shop at big box stores like Walmart, except I was looking for some damn black eyed peas and I had to go to Walmart. But I do check out other places like, the local stores to shop. And then there's some Black-owned restaurants that I support, and a Black-owned food truck. And, so I am definitely all about supporting us as well as the local economy. But some people just need to stop. They just really need to stop. And they prey on people who find it hard to say no. I'm not one of those people. If I believe in the product, it's yes all day. If I know you're trying to hustle me, it's no all day. It's really just that simple. But it's a lot of the hustle culture, and a lot of the social media sites can be overwhelming with hustle culture. And so that can be, sometimes I just want to, and sometimes I do just disconnect from social media while I'm here, because it's a lot. Everyone's selling something, and some of the things that they're selling, they just should not be selling. And so hustle culture is rampant. No, excuse me. hustle culture is rampant with the new experts turning into counselors, and it's just ridiculous. There's some jealousy, but again, I haven't experienced a lot of that. I've spoken to people because I'm not here throughout the year. So I don't get as ingrained, but I've spoken to people who spend more time here and tell me about things that have happened or things that have transpired with this person or that person. And, you know, there's different levels of jealousy, and it leads to, um, it leads to us not showing the best side of us as a community. And so, again, that's why I always encourage people to find community outside of just race, but passion points. Whatever your passion point is, go ahead and do it. Like, there's things that I do that I don't have friends that will do with me. Or when I say friends, friends of the same race that will do with me. And so I don't mind. Like, this guy that I met this time around, he's an older gentleman from Canada. And when I say older, he looks older, but we're probably age appropriate. Has been one of the sweetest, most nicest guys that I have met during my whole travel. He's Caucasian, he's divorced, he's a world traveler, he's also a certified diver. I want to get my certification. He's been very helpful, not asking, not trying to hustle me, not trying to sell me a course, not trying to sell me this or sell me that. He's just been genuinely gracious with his time and his effort and his whenever you're ready type approach. And so I literally appreciate different communities. So find your community within your community that I talked about before. And these last two things, I was debating, was I going to discuss them, but I'm going to discuss them because this is all about truth and exposure, right? So let's get into it. I don't know why people think that if you have, and when I say people, I'm going to say people of the opposite sex, right? A good portion of people of the opposite sex believe that if I have decided to move to another country solo dolo, that I'm lonely and that I must have them as a companion. So I call these like the maintenance men that truly want to, take care of the lonely women who, don't have anyone or can't get anyone or moved here because they're divorced or moved here for whatever reasons to maybe look for a Mexican husband or a husband from a, different background, whatever. It's interesting and it's annoying as well. And I don't know if people really talk about that. I grew up with two brothers, a lot of male cousins, and I have quite a few, a grip of male friends. I'm good. Like, I'm really good. Like, I'm not seeking random people to cure any loneliness because I'm not lonely. And that's the other thing. Like, people have such a hard time being with themselves and doing things with themselves that they sometimes do gravitate to these and turn into pick-me's, like, because they just do not understand how to spend time fostering the right relationships and taking time to spend with themselves if necessary. And so the maintenance men situation, I can't speak for the women because, well, I can actually, but the maintenance men thing is a real thing. And if you're not on Tinder or these dating sites, they're like, what do you do? Like, it's like just a ball of confusion. And I literally, I'm about to go meet, I think I said this at the beginning, but I met someone who, the HBCU community is thick. And so our connections are just real. And so I met someone who graduated from the school that I graduated from. And then that was yesterday. And today I met someone else who graduated from my university, which is Howard University. And so I'm meeting the person that I met today, and she's going back. She's here visiting, but she's thinking about making the move. And so she was asking me about like the dating scene. Like I said, I'm not here year long, so I can't really speak to it 100%. But I will say that it's interesting. It's an interesting vibe. I go back and forth. So, maybe one day I'll be able to speak more about how it's turned out for me. But it's definitely, it's annoying. It's definitely annoying. And like I said, growing up with brothers and male cousins and having, a gang of male friends and companions, I'm good. Like, I'm definitely good with having friends that we can meet up and play cards, play spades, or chit chat, or play, Uno, or really just vibe with each other. And that doesn't seem to be the common thing here. And then, of course, the ratio is just ridiculous. Like, it's kind of like Atlanta numbers, and so the pickings are slim, and most of the men know this, and so they take advantage. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to say this with as much sensitivity and care as possible, but if you are a closed-minded individual, a lot of places in Mexico may not be for you. Every place that I've visited and have been to has been alternative lifestyle friendly. And alternative lifestyle can mean a lot of different things, right? And so I've had to come to learn that I may meet a couple someplace and we are chit-chatting and talking, and then the next thing I know, there's an offer on the table. But it's not like an overt offer. It's a behind the scenes offer. Like you have to figure it out. Like, oh, real? Like, and so, some people may not be ready for that. And some people may. And then also understanding that, there's a lot of people here that don't think like you, just period. And you have to be flexible with that, because you are looking for a certain level of freedom, just like everyone else is. And so you're going to come across different type of people from different types of walks of life. And, it's up to you to mesh or not. And if you have certain phobias, or if you have certain preconceived notions, you may have a hard way here. I could be friends and cool with anybody as long as you are not hurting people. I could be cool with anybody. And so a lot of people may not have those same thoughts. So those were just the few items that I wanted to go over. There's a lot of people here that go along to get along, and you will not find happiness if that is you. But I do believe if you plan and you take steps before you get to wherever you're going, like I said, spend time in a certain place before you fully commit. Also, don't just listen to the online chatter. Talk to people that have the same values as you do. Like, make sure that these are people that you consider yourself evenly yoked, and then get their point of view. And then you should be okay. But there are some, all in all, like I said, I'm good. I'm still planning the move. I'm just not 100% certain where I am going to move. I kind of want it to be Playa del Carmen, but at the same time, I'm seeing everybody's coming to Playa del Carmen. So I don't know. I'm still in the vibe section, vibe area, like trying to figure out if this is if this is going to be my hub or not. But again, I'm all 100% about being out, in the words of Harriet Tubman. And if you know the story about the freedom fighters that walked and helped others walk to other countries like Mexico and Canada, other slaves, to get to freedom, that's what, listen, I'm 100% for anybody who wants to go. But if you do have any questions about any experiences that I have, again, respectfully, if you're respectful with your questions, I will definitely answer as soon as possible. You can leave them in the comment section. I will definitely there was something I do want to. There was something, I'm going to save that for tomorrow. I'm going to save that, what I was going to say, for tomorrow. So, again, eat the meat, spit out the bones. If what I said made sense to you, great. If you disagree, great. But this is my experience and experiences that people don't often talk about. But I wanted to come on and share what it's like moving to another country, the process, and not all the happy-go-lucky stuff. So anyway, go ahead, like this video. I'd appreciate it. Again, subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification, hit that notification belly thing, so you'll know every time we go live or upload a new video. But until next time, guys, Happy New Year. Today's the last day of Kwanzaa, Imani faith. Keep the faith, y'all. We're going to get it together. Our community is going to do better. And I just believe that. So anyway, happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. See you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m.